Hello everyone, this is Political Chit Chat and I'm your host Gonzalo Duran. I look forward to talking to you about global and local politics. If you'd like to be on the show, feel free to email me at gonzaloduranyc@gmail.com. To get to know me better, feel free to check out my social media at Gonzalo Duran NYC. Until then, and as always, God bless America. Hello everyone, this is Political Chit Chat and I'm your host Gonzalo Duran. Today's honored guest is Emmanuel Findlay. He's running for City Council District 16 in the Bronx. Emmanuel, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Gonzalo. It's been a pleasure to come out here.
You know, a couple months ago, you had me on a forum speaking on with you guys, and now you're here today. So thank you. Not to have the tables turned a little bit. I like that.
Yeah.
You know.
It's what's supposed to be done. If you're aiming to lead the community and be one of the members that actually direct which way the community goes, policies, you definitely have to reach out to others and see different points of view, because that's the only way we move forward.
Yeah, and one of the biggest problems that I believe we have in let's say the media is that the mainstream or the top tier people get all the sound bites. You know, you got the far left or you got the far right, but what about the guy in the middle or the guy who doesn't have $1 million in their pocket and not being able to speak out? So thank you for giving us that forum last time. You know, I'm hoping that I can repay the favor today, you know, since you're running for City Council. Before we get into that, can you give us a little bit about your background?
Well, I was originally born in Sierra Leone, West Africa. I came here when I was about 14, 15, about 2000. I became a citizen not too long after, about 2001, 2002, became a citizen. Now I've been here, went to high school, and then I went to the Army and came out. And I've always been a community activist. I like working in the community. I like working, with people, or trying to help people depending on what their needs are, try to meet people where they are, hear what they have to say, and work together with, the community leaders, whether it's food drives, clothes drives, opening up. Right now what we're working on is trying to get a non-for-profit going that is more focused on trade jobs. Because if you look at the population right now, Gen Alpha, I believe is scheduled to be about 40 million, and that's going to be a drop. So in order to prepare them for what's coming, because there's going to be a deficit in workers, we want to be able to make people mobile, to be able to go from one state to another and be able to fend for themselves in case the government can't do it, or if Social Security fails. We want to prepare people for the future.
Now, to just go back a little bit, so you were born in Sierra Leone,
Yes.
And you became a citizen. Can you tell us a little bit about your process of becoming a citizen?
Well, for me, what happened is my mother was a citizen, and rest her soul. My mother was a citizen, and she had filed the paperwork for me to come over. So when I came to America, I had to go through the interview process, and all that took a few years. And for me, being that I was coming as a minor, I got it through my mother, and she filed for the paperwork and got me my citizenship. So that's how I got that.
And then getting in to the military, how did that come about?
Actually, I originally wanted to join the military when I was out of high school. That's what I wanted to do. But back then it was what we call the George Bush Wars, and my mother was strongly against it. She didn't want it. So as a result, I ended up not going, and finally, sometime around she got sick, and I told her, listen, I'm going to go because I wanted to go. So that's what I did.
Oh, it's very patriotic, of course, and thank you for your service as well.
Well, thank you for your service. I know that you're definitely a Marine, well decorated.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So now, coming into one of the things that you mentioned, the off of 40, or how did you say it? 40, the deficit that...
Yes, about 40 million Gen Alpha. I think the overall number of Gen Alpha for coming up, I think it's supposed to be around 40 million. So that's going to be, our population is going to take a hit.
So now, in retrospect, let's say the regular person coming out, walking outside, they'll say, like, there's a lot of people out there. You're telling us that there's a deficit that's going to be hitting soon?
Well, you would see it as if there's a lot of people out there because you're in an urban area. where people are more clustered together. But then when you take 40 million, you spread it across the whole country, you realize that it's not that many people, because it's spread thin. So that's why that dip is concerning.
Okay, and I know like other places is more devastating, like China, where they're like 20, 30 years behind in their numbers, and it's like they're scared about that situation.
Yes, you have that, but you also have the fact that a lot of the young men in China have opted out of society. I don't remember what the name is for them. There's a name for them, and I don't want to butcher it, so I'm not going to say it.
No
so there is you have a lot of young men and young people that have opted out of society because either they feel betrayed because they're told, hey, you go to college, you get this degree, or, that's what you have to do. Go to college, get the degree, get this job, 9 to 5. But that 30-year, back when you could work in a company for 30 years and then retire with a golden watch, that's not there anymore. So now it's a lot harder to achieve that goal. So
well, we know in China that's super hard.
Yeah.
Coming to America now, we know that's really hard. It's coming to be like that. So what do you think we should be doing then?
We have to prepare them for the future, right? So we already know what the shortcomings are. So if we know that there's going to be a manpower shortage, we should make sure that each man counts for 3. Okay. Can do the jobs that 3 can do, because that's how we have to sustain ourselves till we can build back those numbers up. We have to prepare for that, and we have to prepare the community for that.
You know what? I'm going to do my part. If somebody's out there that wants to help populate the world, I'm going to do my part. Okay? It's not that easy, though, right?
It's not, because, populating is one thing, but populating also needs a framework or structure around it. So, yeah, if you want to do it, yeah, you should, but with a community around you.
Yeah, so, obviously, I'm joking on that part.
No, but, definitely.
But, we're talking more family values and nuclear family type of stuff that we're talking about.
Yes.
So you want to go towards that endeavor right there.
Yes.
That's what we should be focused on. And me personally, I would love that situation to be the norm. I would love for that to be the norm. Obviously, in urban community in New York City, that's not the norm.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult.
If you go across the rural areas, which once again, it's that we're trying to get more population over there. I'm assuming you're trying to get then. Why, once again, why is that? Like, I don't know the whole socioeconomical across the board of the different countries, but I do know one thing. I know that we're hurting right now in New York City. You want to change some of those things. Yeah. What are some of the platforms that you are looking towards to make your district better? Well,
one of the things I'm looking for, like I spoke on earlier, was the trade jobs, preparing the next generation to take over, and not having them being tied down to one location. Because if you are a tradesman and one area, you're not getting a job in one area, you can always move and take that trade and that skill and talent with you elsewhere, so you can actually sustain yourself. Because it's not just about having a college degree, it's about also being able to move around, being able to do the work for yourself, being able to create your own industry or get into the industry on your own, create your own business, or there's a small business, whether you get together with friends. That's what it is about.
Yeah, I've always said that always having a solid structure and then having something to fall back or, extra, or I think we call it the hustles that you have is an important thing. But, right now we're in a situation where a lot of the younger generation is trying to get their degrees, put themselves in debt, and then they go out trying to look for these jobs, and they have like a liberal arts degree in gender qualification or something like that, right? And now they're like, well, I can't find a job with my degree. There are opportunities for trades, plumber, mechanics, electricians, HVAC, right? These opportunities, and they're well-paying jobs. And if you put, time and effort, and you can make it entrepreneurship, there's big bucks into that,
Well, unfortunately, the thing about that is that those kind of careers are looked down upon. Because right now, one of the thing that's lifted up on a pedestal is that degree. And if you don't have it, a lot of avenues are closed off. But if you have a trade, then you can create your own avenue. So that's where my platform is, that trade, to give you that avenue.
So it would be, let's say, or is the city investing in it? Are we getting more nonprofits invest? Pushing individuals to it? What would be the route that you would want to go?
Well, I would like to explore both options.
Okay.
Right? We want to encourage the community to build itself up. So we want to encourage entrepreneurs to get together to link up with other entrepreneurs within the community. If one is failing, find out from that entrepreneur why they're failing, and maybe both of you can collaborate together. And we also want to use the city's resources to help fund those in part, because we want to make sure that the money that we're giving out, we want to make sure we're giving to the people within the community, and it stays within the community at least a bit longer before it goes out.
You know, I was a member of the YEP. Now it's the SYEP, the Youth Employment Program that the city has. And, you know, so the city pays for youth to go work at nonprofits and other locations, city agencies and stuff like that. You know, I'd like to see if they can push that towards having some time with the trades.
Yes.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
That is a good idea. Currently, right now, I have a not-for-profit in the works. I'm waiting on a few calls back, and that's what it's pushing. It's pushing the trades. We want to get them. We want to get the youth into the trade earlier. We don't want to wait till they're out of high school. We want to get them in the trade maybe around middle school, so they can start shadowing and following and seeing what the trade really is like, what occupation you want to go to, what it's really like in the day-to-day, so they can go maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Spend time on these businesses and see how it works and get that real hands-on experience. And by the time they get to high school and they're ready to graduate, you're graduating already with a trade under your belt. So if you decide you don't want to go to college, at least you have that. Because we used to have that back. We used to have shop, woodwork. These are trades. Being a carpenter is a trade, and it pays well. So if we can introduce them to it earlier, when they're out and they're looking for a job and they're asked, hey, how many years of experience do you have? Well, I have 4 years of doing this in high school, and I have 4 years and these are my project and portfolio. You can come out with that, and you're prepared to go out into, because these are hands-on jobs.
And I'm right there with you. What are some of the other platforms?
Well, the other platform is housing, because one thing I've noticed is that housing has been really deficient in its work. You have buildings, housing buildings, wherein nobody can get in because the front doors are locked and there's no keys. Nobody in the apartment has keys or fobs to get into the building, and that is unacceptable. You can't have people living in housing and then you not providing them with the necessary amenities that are required. As simple as a key to get into the apartment, that's required. Housing also doesn't really take care of the stairways. You go into those stairways, they're awful. The garbage outside, and this is not a fault of the janitors and the workers there, because I see them out there every day and they're doing their job.
Specifically, you mean like public housing?
Yes.
Okay.
I see them out there and they're doing their job. A few weeks ago, I did a cleanup the neighborhood on Webster Avenue, and for the first time ever since I've been around that area, the sanitation department came out. They came out, they cleaned out the whole area. And we were really surprised. They even sent out one of their agents out there to see that we had all the supplies that we needed. And that was shocking to us, because we had never seen them come out full force until we put the pressure on them. And we want to continue to put that pressure on them so they continue to come out there, because even the stairs that they cleaned up, you go see it now. There's continuous dumping in that area.
So once they know somebody's coming to do something, they're on their P's and Q's.
That's what it seems to be. That's what seems to be the case, yes.
Maybe, we don't know.
That's what seems to be the case, because I haven't seen them there again, so we're going to wait, because they were out there doing some landscaping, which was, pretty interesting to see them do that. So hopefully they come back out. If not, we're going to be knocking at their door again.
You know, one of the things that you brought up when we had our last conversation with the housing and the structure. So right now, the city is in a situation where a lot of the housing, the public housing, is in disrepair, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you brought up something that a lot of people, politicians that I haven't seen talk about, is how do we keep maintaining them once, now everybody's saying let's build, mm-hmm. let's knock out these broken ones and build some new ones, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But we're just going to create the same problem just down the road. What are some of your ideas to combat that?
Well, first of all, we have to look into the structure itself. The first thing I would like to do is to have an audit. How much money is going in, how much money is going out, what are they spending the money on? Because we need to know that, because we can't be just pouring money in and not seeing the results of it. So one of the things, we need an audit. And then if there's fat to be trimmed, we have to trim that out. Then we have to make sure we have a structure of management that is held accountable, making sure these buildings are well maintained. And if it comes to that, we might have to outsource the management of that to companies that have a stake in it. when if it's not done properly, they're held accountable. Because it seems like the government is incapable of doing it properly themselves. And you have a lot of middle management that think they're higher management and block other people, either applications or mess with their rent and the title. So we want to stop that. So that's why we want to go in and restructure and see what's going on there first.
Well, obviously with the Adams administration going on right now, we've seen, you know, a lot of the issues with his leadership, you know, not to directly hit on him, but, you know, he's had maybe like a dozen of his top appointees, you know, drop out, and they've had to be, you know, new members to come on. Housing, I don't think is any different. I don't know. I've met with the CEO of NYCHA, but their whole structure is different. You know, they're the biggest landlord in New York City, but they're also federally run, and you know the city doesn't have too much power on that. So you know it's not just as simple as, hey, we need to City Hall can fix it. It's not going to be that easy.
Well, no, it's not going to be easy, but City Hall has a lot of power and has a lot of weight that it can push around. And influencing City Hall to push its weight around for the benefit of its constituent is the goal.
Yeah, of course. You know, for me, when you said that discussion last time, you know, it had my head thinking. I was like, look, it's not the best idea. It's just something I was throwing out and working on with. But, you know, instead of knocking down all the buildings on, let's say, one block or a couple buildings, you know, we build one new one and then we fix the other ones like another one. So we get the people in one building, and then we build another, or build one new one, have the one in the old one, move into the new one,
while you renovate the other one.
While you renovate the other one. Now, I know it's crazy, but it will make the unions happy because they'll have to do work right on the property, and we're not, you know, I don't know what the cost difference of a new building and fixing an old. I know it's not easy, but you know it's got to be some comparable with some funds, and it won't displace so many people at the same time.
Yeah, and that's going to be a difficult task because moving that amount of people is going to take a lot of coordination, and it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, but so we have to do it.
We have to, and I agree with you. We have to do it, but at the same time, as we do it, we have to put in place systems so that the new one that we're building off doesn't end up as the old one. Because then you decide to cycle all over again. We need to learn from the mistakes we made before, and then take that knowledge and then apply it to the new one with a system that can make sure that it's properly ran, maintained, and managed, right? And then there has to be consequences for when it's not done properly. People have to pay the consequences for not doing their job. And once we hold people accountable for that, then we can actually move forward and see some change.
Leadership, transparencies, and punishment.
Yes.
Basically. All right, so what's one of the other topics?
And one of the third one, which is the top one for me, is crime and safety.
Okay. Now that's a big one. So,
yes, it is.
So what would be your plan?
Well, first of all, when you catch the criminals, don't release the criminals right away.
Does that make sense?
Right. When you catch a criminal, you don't just let them out with a couple of hours. You keep them in jail. Especially when you have criminals that are repeat offenders. You have criminals that start off with petty theft, and now they're parts of big drug gangs. Okay, if you don't nip it when it starts, it's going to become a big problem, and we haven't done that in the past 4 years. And we've seen the negative effect it's had on the city. We've seen the negative effect it's had on the businesses in the cities. Because how many businesses in this city have shut down because of the violence? How many cities have shut down because of the loot? How many businesses have shut down because of the looting in the city? And we can't continue to live like this. It's not right for the people who live here, who work hard, wake up in the morning, go to work, come home. You have kids. People have enough problems already. And we cannot sit there as the entity that's supposed to protect the people and make their lives a lot easier and then ignore the problem. You catch a criminal, you put the criminal away.
Now, obviously, you know, safety is a big deal with the upcoming election. And our demographic is hit on with crime a lot. Our percentage is high. You know me, I always say this silly thing and people make fun of me and they take a little offense to it. But, you know, I say if you want crime to stop committing crimes, you know, but it's not that simple. We don't live in a world like that. Obviously, the voters would try to push back and say, look, if our people are the ones getting so much in trouble, then we need to have some kind of relaxed environment. And that's where the bail reform came in and all this stuff going on. I mean, even to the point where I know you're very adamant about where the cops lost the statistical data that they were using to catch criminals because, once again, the numbers were on people like us. So how do you fight that when you go into the voters, though? You know, like, you know, I mean, you're going to have to go into these forums and tell that to the people that are voting for these issues to continue, right?
Yes, and this is a much deeper issue than just a surface there, because you also have parts of the culture that has been co-opted, and that part that has been co-opted has now been passed as if it's part of the culture. The no snitching rule, don't snitch, and no snitching is for people who do the crime together. When you're both in the crime together, when you both plotted on it, and then you go behind your co-conspirators back, and then you go tell on them, that's snitching. When you are reporting a crime that you have no involvement in, you're reporting a crime that you've witnessed, that is not snitching. That is making sure that your neighborhood is safe. That's making sure that you're doing your civic duty. And we all have that duty to make sure that our neighborhood is safe and that we uphold the laws of the country.
So, you know, I go to a lot of public forums, and these are two big examples. One, there was, and this is like a lieutenant police officer telling me this story. He arrested 2 teens that were breaking into a house. He grabbed them, they stopped it, he grabbed them, and then within 4 hours they were already out the door.
See, like, you're never going to learn.
In a neighborhood, obviously, that you're trying to keep, you know, let's say this is the upper part of the North Bronx, they were up in roar and stuff like this, but, you know, the cops said in the end, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now. How do we go to the people and say, if you want something different, vote for you?
Well, people want something different, but I think people are afraid to change because voting for something different and voting for someone different is challenging their identity. Because, especially when you're in New York, and New York is a very liberal city, it's a Democrat no matter who, well, Democrat no matter who. But we've seen the results of that the past couple of years, the past 4 years, and we're seeing what it's doing to our city. And we can't continue to have these individuals in office that will allow this to happen. And if they're not going to do it, we got to go with somebody else that's going to do it. We have to make the politicians work for us. Whether they're Democrats, whether they're Republicans, whether they're conservatives, we have to make them work for us. I'm saying like this might be a little crude, but the voting populace, they're the hot chick at the bar. And everybody else has to fight for their attention. So make everybody else fight for your attention. Make them fight for your vote. Your vote is a resource. It's a resource that you use to get what you want. It's a resource to make the people in power listen to you. So if they're not listening to you, it's time to spend your resource elsewhere. It's time to change up the way things are going, because the way things are going right now is not good. We see what's happening to our city. So it's time to switch up, try something different. And if that doesn't work, we change it again and find another one. America is a country that evolves. Our culture is a culture that learns from its mistakes and fixes itself. We cannot continue to do the crazy stuff and expect things to get better. That's what I can tell them.
And that's a that's a great way to put it. Now, for the viewers that might want to get more information on you and contact you, how would they go reach you?
Well, right now I am on Facebook, which is E. Findlay, or you just Emmanuel Wildman Findlay. That's because I use my grandfather's middle name for a reason, just for to have him. So this would be Emmanuel Wildman Findlay on Facebook. That would be the best spot to get me.
All right, and I'll make sure to put the information on
Yes.
on our link.
And also on Twitter, I'll be the baddest prince, and that has a story behind it too. That was an inside joke between me, my cousin, and my uncle that we had between all 3 of us. So we considered ourselves like the black sheep, not because we're bad, but we're always the ones that are trying to break the norm and step out of convention. So.
All right, well, so look, we're limited in our abilities to get our voices out there. What's another topic, let's say, outside of your platforms that you would like to talk about?
I came up today on the fact that now I have to double check that President Trump signed legislation to convert one of the, I believe it was a UCLA campus. There was a building in UCLA to convert it into a veteran. I believe I sent that to you.
I haven't looked at it
earlier.
yet then.
Yes,
But, you know,
but that's what it is, and I'm really happy about that. I want to see more of those locations all
so
over the country.
he's converting it to what again?
To a veteran homeless shelter.
Okay.
It's gonna be like a veteran homeless campus, where they'll have access to different amenities. From what I've gleaned so far from the clip and the video that I watched, was that it's gonna have amenities, gonna have social support, and I think that's a really good thing to have, and I want to see more of that.
Well, I mean, you know my backstory more than a lot of people. Look, for those that don't know, yes, I was a United States Marine. I'm an Iraq veteran, and when I got out of the military, I had a very difficult transition. I had all the knowledge, all the paperwork, everything that you need to do. I did it the right way, and I still ended up homeless. Not because I didn't have the money, not because I didn't have the skills, but the cracks in the system.
Yes.
And I was shocked by how, well, I only had a very loose base of homelessness, couch surfing, having stayed with my mom, et cetera. It was some bad times, but there's a lot of people that have a lot worse than what I did and a lot longer. And after I got myself situated, I found out how bad the student, veteran, homeless population was. And I'll repeat that so people can understand. Veteran, student, homeless population. So you're a veteran, you're going to school, but you don't have nowhere to go. And that was crazy. So if this is a program, I look forward to jumping in there.
And there was another individual.
Well, let's leave it at that. I apologize. We'll get back to
right.
this another time. But for those that are interested in being on the show, please feel free to reach out at Gonzalo Duran NYC at gmail.com. We're here weekly on MNN. And thank you, Emmanuel, for being with us today.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
And we'll get you on another day, and we'll hit some of these topics.
Sure.
I love it.
With pleasure.
All right. Until then, and as always, everyone, God bless America.
God bless America.
Hello, everyone. This is Political Chit Chat, and I'm your host, Gonzalo Duran. I look forward to talking to you about global and local politics. If you'd like to be on the show, feel free to email me at gonzaloduranyc at gmail.com. To get to know me better, feel free to check out my social media at Gonzalo Duran NYC. Until then, and as always, God bless America.